This is Channel 5 News in the headlines. Unofficial reports from stakeholders on the ground say they've seen no marked improvement in cruise visitor arrivals over the 2016-2017 season. Research indicates Tropical Storm Erika victims still struggling to come to terms with their losses, and 14,000 students to benefit as a Cuban-funded eye care program for school children resumes here next week. I am Idona John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. First up, the official 2016-2017 cruise season ended on Saturday as the last cruise ship docked here. 170 cruise calls were estimated to have been made from October 2016 to April. Tourist service providers observed that there have been a growing number of German cruise passengers. The issue of cancellations of cruises to Dominica's route is also a concern for some tourist service providers. However, Vice President of the Dominica Taxi Association, Frances Esprit, says this situation is not new.
Well, we have cancellations, particularly towards the end of the season, the last month. Every year we have cancellations of ships. And we always anticipate April there is going to be cancellations. Well, we get the cruise ship schedule, let's say September. And you have a whole year, so anything can happen in between towards the end of the season. And some of the cruise ships, they change their schedule. They go into to charters like Summit. We had a number of calls scheduled for the Summit, and we've lost most of these because the Summit is now doing a different route than the Caribbean route.
While tourism authorities estimated that the country would welcome 310,000 cruise visitors based on the preliminary cruise schedule for Dominica, Esprit says there was no marked improvement in cruise numbers when compared to the last cruise season.
We compare it to last year's, and it's about the same thing. The number of ships and the income that we've been able to derive from the cruise industry is about the same as it was last year.
Dominica's ports accommodated a lot more larger ships, including the MV Norwegian Breakaway and the MV Norwegian Gem, both with a capacity of over 4,000 passengers. Tourism stakeholders frequently lament the pullout of Carnival to the Dominican route. Tourism authorities have assured Carnival will visit the island for the 2018 cruise season. Dominica is actually on Carnival's schedule for a 14-day Southern Caribbean cruise in 2018. More top stories. Research conducted to measure the impact of Tropical Storm Erika on communities reveals that some victims are still coming to terms with their losses.
The August 27, 2015 weather event dumped significant amounts of rain on Dominica, resulting in the loss of life, property and infrastructure. More than 90% of the country's gross domestic product was wiped out and over $1.2 billion in loss and damage recorded. Primary healthcare nurse Terelia Ravalier presented her mental health-related findings at the World Health Day seminar on Tuesday.
At present, there is a sense of loss due to death, separation, unemployment, being at shelters, and loss of communities, which are impacting on the mental health of these survivors. Across this study, all the participants alluded to experiencing some form of depression, such as being shocked, numb, or they were in denial immediately after the storm.
The research was carried out from June to August 2016, 10 months after Tropical Storm Erika. A sample size of 12 people from affected communities was interviewed as part of the research. According to interviewees, more counseling to cope with the impact of the disaster is welcomed.
All the participants with children openly requested further counseling for their children. They have observed consistent decrease in their school performances, stubborn crying, and occasional irregular behaviors immediately after the storm. Participant 6 had this to say. That area where we is now is safer. There's clean. I don't have cockroach, mosquitoes, or rat problems. But nurse I think it would have been good if the counselors had given us some more therapy. They used to stop over once a week for a month in the shelter, and then we just stopped seeing them. I heard one of my neighbors in the area end up at the psychiatric unit, so I wouldn't want that for me or my children. They still frightened when it rains heavy. So I think a little more counseling would help them, but I really do not know how.
3 retired educators have been awarded for their long-standing contribution to the teaching service. One of the highlights of the proceedings for the National General Meeting of the Dominica Association of Teachers on Wednesday. Though not on hand to receive their awards, the 3 recipients were Raina Henderson of the Grand Bay Primary School, Oliver Samuel of the Petit Savan Primary School, and Eugenia Joseph Blanc of the Trafalgar Primary School. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Chandler Hyacinth, commended the DAT for its contribution to the teaching profession in Dominica.
Dominica Association of Teachers is to be commended and congratulated for its growth, development, and achievements. Your vibrant, dynamic leadership has contributed to this emergence. And as a national organization, you have helped shape national educational policy and sponsored educational programs, which have contributed to the upliftment and professional development of teachers.
Commenting on the meeting's theme of a trade union congress, Hyacinth says there is strength in numbers and the mindset must be adjusted to move towards the formation of a unified body.
Trade unions are seen as change agents, and the DAT is seen as such, a change agent, and so you're expected to play a pivotal role in the realm of industrial relations. We recognize that the Dominica Association of Teachers recognizes the importance of unity. Indeed, there is value and immense benefit in consolidating among bargaining bodies. There is also strength in unity. And the time has come for unions to consider unification. But this new approach, this new way of thinking requires a shift in thinking.
In other news, the Ministry of Public Works and Ports has planned an open house-styled event for the opening of the new $18 million Roseau West Bridge project.
The ceremony will consist of a few speeches followed by a ribbon cutting and then a symbolic first drive onto the bridge. Prime Minister Skerrit told a sod-turning ceremony 1 year ago that this major project would not be done by imposing additional taxation on citizens or by contracting costly loan financing. Mr. Skerrit said we were able to undertake this major project by using resources raised through the Citizenship by Investment program. The Prime Minister said the significance of this achievement should not be underestimated. He noted that the $18 million was a lot of money for a country like Dominica, particularly in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Erica. The general public is invited to attend and witness the ceremony to take place at 3 o'clock on the 1st of May, traditionally known as May Day. The new West Bridge forms part of the overall Roseau Enhancement project.
This is Channel 5 News. Coming up, the Deputy Labour Commissioner weighs in on the idea of a trade union congress. That and more when we return. Thanks for staying with us. The Yes, I Can See Clearly Now program, seeking to address some 14,000 students with vision problems, will resume next week when school reopens. A team from Cuba, including 3 ophthalmologists, will spend 4 months on island for the project. They began examining students in the Grand Bay Health District last week. They will determine who will receive spectacles and other treatment, along with the country's consultant ophthalmologist, Dr. Hazel Shillenford Ricketts. The program's coordinator, Joan Henry, said all 7 health districts will be covered.
I must say I'm very happy. One of the persons who are the happiest among here. It's true to have the Cuban team on island, because from 2014 we've been, waiting to the parents who consented. The consent forms were signed from 2014, and we've been waiting, and I'm really thankful for their patience. Some of us to say, when is this thing happening? Oh, that was just a political gimmick. And you know, when that happens, it was very painful because I know it was not. So again, parents, as you're listening, we're on the road, and you must continue to listen to the different radio stations that you listen to hear when we are going to be in your area. The second level education requires the parents to be there. We need you to be here because we want you to see what is going to be done to your child.
There was an initial examination conducted by district nurses at schools since December. Over 6,000 students have already been seen, according to official data.
Let me also say to the parents who said, no, don't touch my child, as you would hear this program being on the road, you would reconsider and give the child an opportunity to be examined. And if there's anything, we ensure that your child will get the best care. So please reconsider those who have said no.
Health Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru said the program should give every child an opportunity to be examined.
What we have to realize over the years is that some of our students who were classified as slow learners and never really achieved their full potential, that they were not really slow learners in terms of their cognitive, I hope I use the correct word, processes, but because of visual problems. So they will be probably sitting in the classroom, okay, not being able to see the board properly, and then nobody would have picked that up until such a program was initiated. So we're hoping that everyone, as we said, is going to be given a fair chance. So each and everybody, so the child who would have had the potential to be a medical doctor, but because of poor vision, and then no one ever really paid him any attention before, right now we're given the opportunity to do so.
The Cuban government is funding the $1 million project. Secretary-Treasurer of the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, Curtis Augustus, is challenging trade unions to step up to the plate and put the wheels in motion to form a trade union congress. Augustus made the remarks at the 19th National Meeting of the Dominica Association of Teachers on Wednesday, which was held under the theme, A Trade Union Congress, Consolidating for Greater Effectiveness in the Future.
In the first place, we must all want and be committed to the formation of such an institution or organization. We must develop a respect for that organization. We must have or develop confidence in that trade union congress that we are about to establish. And importantly, we must be prepared to participate fully in the trade union congress. A trade union congress begins with the negotiation of a constitution between the units, the unions, interested in the formation of such an organization.
The Secretary-Treasurer warned that members must be prepared to adhere to the articles of the Constitution, as there will be consequences for those who violate the agreement.
The rules can cover what can be done and what must not be done. The jurisdiction of operating can be defined and guidelines determined. The question of poaching must be fully discussed and understood by each unit of the Congress. Violations and/or departures from this principled position can be determined either by the Executive Committee or the Executive Council when conflicts arise.
Augustus pointed out that there are several benefits to establishing a trade union congress and urged unions to take steps toward this goal.
With the realization of a trade union congress, the workers and trade unions will be in a position to speak with a single voice, which is one of the benefits of a congress. Another benefit is the consolidation of labor's position on any issue that impacts or is likely to impact on the union and workers in Dominica. A trade union congress will be in a position, because of its very numbers, to forcefully request of our administration an audience to discuss a number of concerns.
Meantime, the Deputy Labour Commissioner has also called on local labour unions to put their differences aside and amalgamate to form a trade union congress. Eric Menz highlighted that there are problems facing the unions in their attempt to create a congress, but he says there are too many positive attributes to be derived from a united body to keep delaying the move in that direction.
And the question that must come to one's mind is, if a trade union congress has so many benefits, why is it that in 2017, we in Dominica cannot form a trade union congress? I have been with the Labor Department from 1999, and I have witnessed what goes on between the unions. Of course, Mr. Augustus didn't speak to that, but I'm sure a lot of you here are aware that there's a lot of infighting among our unions. Mr. Augustus alluded to the issue of poaching. That is something I think that is a serious problem.
The Deputy Labour Commissioner reiterated that the establishment of a trade union congress sooner rather than later will reap more benefits for its members.
I want to use the opportunity that has been given to the Labour Ministry this morning to call on all the labour unions in Dominica. Please, for the sake of your members, not for yourself, but for the sake of your members, please put aside whatever difference that you have and work and do whatever is required to ensure that a Congress becomes a reality.
And contractors in the Petite-Savanne constituency have expressed optimism not only for the job opportunities, but the wider impact that a $1.2 million disbursement will have on the community.
These contractors from Pichelet, Bagatelle-Fonseja and Belleville-Chopin, who will be responsible for construction of roads and retaining walls among other projects at various locations in the constituency, faced the camera after an important signing ceremony in Pichelet.
I personally, as a contractor and a builder, I'm extremely happy to see the work that is being done in our small boarding village of Stowe Estate. That place used to be just an estate with chicken, pigs and so on, but now it's developed into it is developing into a beautiful community. And I'm glad the way it is shaping up. I'm glad the way the government has heard our cries and our pleas, because from 2006 I've been living up there, and our road was just a track, and without a four-wheel drive you couldn't access anybody's homes or anything like that. So we want to say thanks to them for recognizing us, especially in that Stowe Estate community.
Thank you to Dr. Darrow for such a great privilege, a good opportunity for even me and our villagers. And again, I want to say, without a good road network, there's no development. We have been, especially in my area, that road have been like that for a long while. And it takes Dr. Darrow to really develop that area for us in our road network. There's a lot of building in our area, but if we had roads, maybe they would have more buildings. So without road, we are without development. I think it is a good move. Roads bring prosperity, it brings development, it brings a lot of different things to upgrade business, to upgrade your area. And I can assure you that this road is going to upgrade our area. So I just want to say thank you for Doc for considering us in that area, setting up our road, building up our roads, and we'll have more development in that area.
The MP for Petite-Savanne, who presided over the presentation of the funds to various village councils, also made reference to £30 million which will be spent on rehabilitation of the Lubia to Bagatelle Road.
I know the chairperson and some of the residents, especially in the Senate area, have been concerned as to what is going to happen to the Senate area. Rest assured, I would have reassured her that the consultant is soon to be an island, and then the Member of Parliament of Gambia and myself, we have already put things in place to ensure that when the consultant is going around, that we go with them to point out the areas, because we don't think that it's fair that people could just sit in an office or other people determine for us what our priorities in the area. So we'll let them know what we think needs to be done. with this $100 million. So in addition to the resurfacing of the road, okay, a lot of the mitigating measures are going to be put in place, changing of culverts, stabilization of cliffs in the Dubic area, etc.
That's news. Your sport highlights next with Kenny Williams.
First up in sports, Dominica added yet another win to their tally when they defeated the home team a second time in the Under-16 Tri-Series in St. Lucia. Final scores 42-34 in favor of Dominica. In the first quarter, Dominica led 11-10, bringing it to 18-21 and 31-26 in the second and third quarters, respectively, to finally take an 8-point lead against the home side. Shooting for Dominica, we had Selena Langley with 31 from 39 and Kayla Telemac 11 from 16. In a losing effort, Megan netted 26 from 35 for St. Lucia. On the cricket scene, Barbados Pride secured second place in the WICB PCL Regional 4-Day tournament with a recent 26-run win over Jamaica Scorpions. Highlights from that encounter: Barbados batted first and made 377 with 114 from Justin Greaves, Kenroy Williams 82 and Ashley Nurse 60. In reply, Jamaica was bowled out for 244 with their highest scoring batsman in that innings being Devon Thomas 59. In the second innings, Barbados reached 187 with Nikita Miller taking 4 for 46 and Fabian Allen 4 for 47. Set 341 for victory, Jamaica scored 314 with 93 from Chadwick Walton. Jamel Warrican bagged 5 for 87. In another match, an 11-wicket haul from Imran Khan helped Trinidad and Tobago Red Force defeat Leeward Island Hurricanes by an innings and 17 runs, putting Red Force in 4th position. TNT first at the crease made a whopping 553. Yannick Soraya 196 and Tian Webster 109. In reply, Leewards were bowled out for 299 with 71 of Chesney Hughes and Monson Hodge 64. Following on, Leewards were dismissed for 237. Monson Hodge scored an unbeaten 96. Sports continues with this item, where head of the Dominica Olympic Committee, Felix Wilson, says the locally based organization is interested in developing all Olympic sports here. This as the DOC seeks to carry out Agenda 2020 in keeping with the goals of the International Olympic Committee.
Our goal at the Dominica Olympic Committee is to serve athletes, first and foremost, and national associations. So it's the future I am interested in, the future of the Olympic Games and the role of the Dominica Olympic Committee. That is one, to get scholarships for athletes, coaches, officials. Because in addition to facilities, which I will describe in a while, you need that. You need better coaches, you need better officials, okay, to ensure that the game is sustained at a highly developed level. And that is generated by what is called, in part, Agenda 2020, which the International Olympic Committee, IOC, has put forward. It addresses topics of governance, it addresses topic of ethics, it addresses bidding for the games, and several other things.
He says the development of a synthetic track, while overdue, is still on the cards for Dominica.
We are still begging, you may say, government to lease land at Warner to build a complex, and we'll do it in stages. The first stage of it is to have a 400-meter track. Why? Athletics goes to Olympic Games. You cannot be running on grass and expect to excel on synthetic track, which is what everybody else has. First, we will look to get a 400-meter track, and within the track, an international football field. So we are taking care of 2 of our national associations. And progressively, we will look at tennis, we'll look at swimming, we'll look at volleyball, basketball, you name it. All of these are Olympic sports. and progressively you get funding, the IOC being the major donor, and we will have that centrally located at Warner.
Next up, President of Dominica Bodybuilders Association and Physical Culture, Emmanuel Loblack, says the local body has major plans for the sport in 2017. The association seeks to attract more women to the sport and have Mr. Dominica competition.
We are hoping also that later down in the year that we can have, for example, Mr. Dominica. This is the big one I'm looking forward to, Mr. Dominica. And also, if all goes well, if we have the financial resources, we can get a guest poser from the region, maybe St. Martin, Barbados, or Trinidad, I think some years ago, we had our Mr. Dominica at the Carib Cinema, and we had this Mr. Olympia from Trinidad. I'm hoping that in the future, the show will not only be Mr. Fitness, but also Miss Fitness also. All right, and Miss Strong and Miss, and I'm hoping that I'm seeing a number of ladies. I look at the gyms I went to, the various gyms, a number of young ladies, into weight training. I'm hoping that they can take it to the next level.
He says weight training is an important part in maintaining health.
As we get older, it's like the body is a machine, and you have wear and tear on any machine, saving with your body, and weight training plays an enormous role in terms of reinforcing that body of ours, of the skeleton in particular, your ligaments, your tendons, and that's where the weight training comes, to reinforce that body of ours.
The 2017 bodybuilding competition is carried for April 29 at Arak House of Culture from 8 in the evening. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
We check in now with the Met Office for the latest weather updates.
Good evening. Welcome to the weather report and forecast. I am Viola Pascal. The infrared satellite imagery is showing that some multi-layered clouds are lingering across the area, and this is associated with that weak frontal boundary that affected Dominica on Tuesday. The visible satellite imagery is showing a reduction in cloud cover across Dominica, with most of the clouds associated with the weak frontal boundary to the south of the island. The radar imagery showed that scattered showers affected mainly the southern portion of the island chain during today. The forecast for tonight: expect partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with a few scattered showers. Similar conditions can be expected tomorrow, with temperatures getting up to 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. For the marine forecast, seas are expected to be moderate, with waves peaking near 8 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to continue to exercise caution. For the next 3 days, expect partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with a few scattered showers. On Saturday, a slight increase in cloudiness and showers can be expected. Across the Caribbean, partly cloudy conditions with some showers across the north, and mostly cloudy conditions with scattered showers across the southern portion of the island chain. For the international cities forecast, partly cloudy conditions with showers in New York, partly cloudy conditions in Miami, overcast skies in London, thunderstorms in Caracas, and clear skies in Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:47 a.m. and set at 6:21 p.m. For further information, call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit the website at weather.gov.dm. Do have a good evening.
To end the news, the headlines again. Unofficial reports from stakeholders on the ground say they've seen no marked improvement in cruise visitor arrivals over the 2016-2017 season. Research indicates Tropical Storm Erika victims still struggling to come to terms with their losses, and 14,000 students to benefit as a Cuban-funded eye care program for school children resumes here next week. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can access the news on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona John Baptist, and to our viewers around the world, thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.